let's keep freestyling. We can do like an intro at the end.
Sure.
I was talking to James Shadrach yesterday, and he asked me the question, you introvert or an extrovert? And I said, absolutely an introvert, but I'm an introverted extrovert. And what I meant by that is I love nothing more sometimes than sitting out here somewhere doing my own thing, but having the buzz of other people around me, and then being able to go and find my quiet zone to like recharge.
Totally.
And that's what this place enables, right?
Sure.
Which is cool.
That's interesting. You call yourself an introvert, extrovert.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but
no. Like, firstly, the fact that you call yourself an introvert, I've never seen that in you.
yeah,
I see leadership,
Yeah.
leadership qualities, and I get that maybe when you're not in your rhythm, you're probably quiet and reserved in a way, but like when the lights, dare I say, are on, you're in go mode and you're in leadership mode.
I'm so shy though, man. I'm shy. I get anxious. I get ironically. So it was International Men's Day 2 days ago, and I got booked to do a speaking gig on men's mental health and well-being, and the charity we started, which we're recording for, was sort of the catalyst on a number of different things, but one of which being my own experience with mental illness and crippling anxiety. And I'm like getting ready to do this thing, and I'm like suffering big time anxiety. I'm like, I gotta cancel. I gotta come up with some BS excuse and just not be there. I'm like, no, you can't do that. That's like the whole point of just rocking up and just telling that.
For us, we've got a set of values in our company, and I think the values for what they are today are 100% play out. Relationships are not 50-50, they're 100-100. Give everything you've got to people. Charity begins at home.
I love that.
There's
relationships 100-100, not 50-50. That's such a good...
So say you and I went into business together, and you own 50% of the cap table, I own 50% of the cap table.
Yeah.
I can't give you 50%.
Yeah.
We're doomed.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 100.
Yeah.
You're going to give me 100. No different to your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
You're all in, right? One of the things that we're actually going to make amendment to tomorrow is it's one category that I want to go a little bit harder on, and it's courage.
Right.
And what I mean by
one of the business values.
Yep.
Right.
Courage, but what I mean by courage is I want people to lean in.
Right.
Right. And what I mean by that is, you can say anything and everything to me with zero judgment. But if you don't say something and there is a problem and I can't see it, I can't help.
Yeah.
And as that problem snowballs, like it gets harder and harder to be able to attack it, right?
Yeah.
And so I want people within the org to and this is not hindsight or something happened. This is kind of like, to your point, people have an expectation. Can you come and show up and do this? Like, if you make that commitment, have the courage to follow through with it. And if there is a problem, or you hear something, or you see something that doesn't feel quite right, don't stay quiet on it.
Yeah.
And so we're actually making that amendment.
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna kind of put my 2 cents into the leadership to say, hey guys, I think we need to make this amendment around courage. And so on that, I don't see courage from you. I just see you in doing you. And it's unfortunate that you have to build up that courage.
Yeah.
Because I don't see that fear.
Sure.
I actually see you performing.
Yeah.
Which then, like, just me sitting around, like, I walk in after Orange Theory, I see you already in the office hustling. It makes me go, fuck, I gotta continue to step up my game. So
that's the beauty of the space, right? We all push each other along.
That's it.
And vice versa. Thank you for that. Enough about me, it's about you. So let's rewind a little bit. Petloo, big success. Onto dog walking out, can't remember the name. Success. Zini.
Relative success. Let me tell you about relative success.
Sure.
SoftBank.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Have been in the news for other things.
Right.
Related to me. But SoftBank actually put, I think they put 300 million into my competitor in the space.
Yes, I heard about this.
Yeah. WAG.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I'm also a shareholder in another company. It's a food it's a food company called WAG, and we trade through the US and Canada, in the dog food category and treats category. So I think Zini was a relative success, but if I would have just kind of stayed the course, maybe SoftBank would have put 300 into me. But having said that, when SoftBank put money into stuff, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, will be interesting to see how all that stuff plays out.
I think what was a raging success on the Zini, there was two things. First thing was the fact that we went from 0 to 800 dog walkers and 23,000 dogs walked in a very short period of time was a raging success. But I think the big thing was that was a really tough business. And I think I learned more in Zini than I did in Petloo, because Petloo, we didn't have complications. Petloo was actually a dream of a business compared to some of the ebbs and flows that I've had to go through historically since then. But I actually learned more about me.
Sure.
I learned more about business.
Yeah.
I learned more about hustle and grind and go get them. And I also learned a lot about my spirit.
Yeah.
Meaning, you can kick me in the nuts all day. You can't break my optimism.
Right.
I will never be a pessimistic person.
Right.
I've tried so hard to balance my optimism and try and give myself a little bit of pessimism. Go, oh, that's not going to work. I just can't find that in me.
Sure.
So Zini was tough. Mobile marketplace. Yeah. Serving 23,000 dogs.
What year?
14, 15.
Yeah.
14, 15.
Yeah.
2014. Yeah. But I actually learned so much about who I was as a person during that period.
So something that I love about you and admire is this unrelenting optimism and positivity. And I think in my experience and in witnessing other successful people, other to yourself, there is this genuine self-belief, genuine self-confidence, a willingness to embrace success and achievements, etc., which I think in the US is more readily accepted and celebrated, and I think is a challenge for some people over here in Australia. So two-part question. Number one, where do you think that optimism and positivity and I'll say self-pride, for lack of a better term, where did that come from? And then number two, how do you cultivate that? How do you embrace that? How do you let that come to the fore in a culture like Australia where tall poppy syndrome, I believe, does exist?
100%.
How do you, where does it come from and how do you deploy that here?
Yeah, so I think it's really hard to sort of like pinpoint where it truly comes from.
Yeah.
But I think for me anyway, I'm a product of my parents. I'm a product of my upbringing. I lost my dad when I was 14. He fell sick when I was 16. He passed away at the age of 44. And while he was like unwell, he basically leveled with me and said, "You need to be the man of the house. You look after your family." So at that time, I felt like my childhood was stripped from me because I very quickly overnight had to become the man or a man.
Sure.
And protect and serve my family, right? And so my mom during that whole time her world was falling apart. She's never remarried. She's never even been on a date since my dad's passed away, which was 25 years ago. He was the love of her life. She was the love of his life. And while my mum's entire world was falling apart, she kept us focused on what we had, which was each other, me and my two sisters. And she didn't let us drift to what we didn't have and the misfortune, right? And so at the age of 14, when you're hyper-focused on the stuff that you have around you, and by that say, what I mean by like what we had, nothing material.
Sure.
Just like we got each other.
Yeah.
And we're gonna struggle, but like we got each other. Like how fucking amazing is that?
Yeah.
My mom just kept me focused on all that positivity, and I think in retrospect, that's just bled into who I am today. Like I said, you can kick me as hard as you want all day, every day. You can't break my spirit. Partly because I think I've been already at a very low point in losing a father, in losing a father figure, in losing a leader, the man of the house. And so it's all upside from here, right?
It's so just on that, just to cut in for a sec. that focus on the things that we've got, you know, which a lot of people talk about these days, you know, the whole gratitude mindset, it's so powerful, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the point you make there, you don't need to focus on the material things, you got to focus on the things that are actually meaningful and valuable to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest with you when I say that I don't think this is a very non-egotistical position, but it's going to sound the opposite.
Sure.
The world wasn't ready for me.
Right.
In 80s and 90s.
Right.
The world is who I was in the 80s and 90s now.
Right.
Being grateful.
Yeah.
Being so self-serving.
Yeah.
Like in the 80s and 90s it was all about like male dominant hero, man of the house, hierarchical.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in that environment.
Right.
I grew up where the women in my house, my two sisters and my mom, coincidentally now my wife, her two sisters and her mom, and our two daughters are like the queens.
Yeah.
And nothing comes above them.
Sure.
And I've always been observing to them. So I think now we're in a world where actually I feel like the world's grown into my values a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm nothing in the big scheme of things, but for a long time I never felt like I belonged.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur, outside the box kind of thinker, doer. I even had a meeting today with one of my leadership coaches and growth coaches, and we sat down, Sade, Ryan, myself, and a couple of other people, and she very candidly explained to the team who I was. You're never going to get a spreadsheet from me. There's never going to be a formula to what I've got to do. I intuitively feel certain ways, and I will act in accordance with that. And so back in school, where my friends are doctors, lawyers, dentists, mathematician geniuses, I wasn't. And I wasn't because I wasn't interested, and the world didn't speak to me. The schooling system didn't speak to who I was. They tried to squeeze, I guess, this bright spark into this box, and I just didn't fit any which way you put me. But today, entrepreneurs are the new rock stars. Not that I feel like I am anything like that.
Yeah.
The amount of people that reach me on LinkedIn that were sort of senior and more sophisticated and more educated and more skilled and knowledge in class are reaching to me going, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
And like the tide has turned completely. That's not to say I know everything, because I'm like learning lots of things every day. But I feel like the way I was brought up, the world is now like there.
Sure.
So whether or not my mum had that vision, or alternatively, to answer your second question, I'm not really focused on things I can't control.
Yeah.
And that's really hard as an entrepreneur sometimes to accept. I'd like to say the last 24 months I've started to come into that mindset. I can only control what I can control. I can only execute on what I can see. If I can't see it, I can't execute it. If there's a problem that's building and I have no knowledge of it, it's just going to hit me like walking on the wrong side of the street, and whatnot. So,
So on that, right? Sounds like your mum and your sisters created an environment where you built this mindset, and probably your dad before he passed as well, right? You're in an environment where you were building this mindset of focusing on the stuff you did have, not worrying about the stuff that you don't have. And perhaps that's followed through into worrying about the stuff you can control as opposed to worrying about the stuff you can't control.
Yeah, and one really clear picture that I want to convey is, as a kid, I was in my bedroom, and the bathroom was on the opposite side of the hallway to me. And in this hallway, it was a square like hallway.
Right.
My mum put all these accolades of my dad.
Yeah.
So my dad was an entrepreneur, a very successful guy. He unfortunately wasn't here to relish in the success. And we as a family never benefited financially from his success, right? Because it was taken from us before it was yielded. So, but what I do remember was when my dad turned 40, my mum threw a surprise birthday, and it was amazing at that time of year. They could actually do these hand-drawn art pieces as icing on the cake. literally icing on a birthday cake.
Maybe.
And my mum had my dad in his work gear,
right,
and a little speech bubble that came out of it. Says, I did it my way.
Yeah.
So when you take the mindset of focus on what you have, what you don't have, and me crossing my bedroom to the bathroom for 15 years as a kid, and seeing this 40-year-old birthday cake, or my dad's 40th birthday cake on the wall, she actually took a photo of it and got it framed, saying I did it my way. You know, when I look back on it, like that was the foundation for who I am today. Like that's real. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does, right? Because so the organization's all about how can we help men decide for themselves what meaningful success is, and then put in place the habits, the processes, the things that they need to do to get there. And I suppose the frustration that I sometimes have is people see people like you, see people like your dad and others who are successful, and like, I just want to be there. Let me be there already. You know, I've been working, but it's like, no, you need to put the things in place, and you need to do these little things that you say feel silly to do, like looking at something inspiring every single day, multiple times a day, and people just feel a little bit awkward in doing it. So all those little things, I think they really add up.
100%. There's a couple of things. I actually feel like I'm on first base.
Right.
So however you view me, I don't feel that way internally, intrinsically. And then the second thing is that I've lost my train of thought. It was so powerful.
It'll come back. How do you deal with in Australia? I'm talking, so if the thought comes back, like jump in. In America, I imagine it's easier to be self-confident, to be optimistic, to be pursuing opportunities like with real rigor and excitement. I think we're getting better here. How have you found that adjustment? What's your advice to people that might be feeling that way? Do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I actually think that it's culturally American. You know, they talk about land of the free. Yeah. Right? We don't have that here. Yeah. They talk about free speech. They talk about it's my right. We have those same rights here. It's not part of our culture. And I think that starts at the top. For me, I don't give a shit, to be honest with you. I've got nothing but I've got nothing to prove to anyone. And the second you stop doing that, I think that's the second you start living, right? I'm here. I don't actually care about money. Sure. Actually, I'll tell you, the honest truth is I've never logged into the business bank account, ever. It gives me anxiety. I don't want to see money. I'm not here for the money. I'm here to pursue a vision. I'm here to support other people pursuing their vision. Yeah. And at core, that's really what it's about for me. I want to deliver the unthinkable. So when I opened up Richmond, people were like, wow, this is amazing. I only saw how I can improve. I opened up Hawthorne, equally wow. My mum walked in here, she's like, there's no ways you're going to beat this. I took her to South Melbourne, she's like, fuck, you've done it again. Right? And it's pursuit of what I want. It's almost like a piece of art, right? I'm here focused on delivering on the mission. If there's going to be a pot of gold at the end of it, that's great for my kids. But even my kids need to work it out for themselves. I plan to put them in a position, please God, where they won't have to worry about the food on their table, but that doesn't mean that they don't wake up every day with purpose, right? It's very, very important to me that if my daughter has her purpose in life is to empty garbage bins and make people happy by doing, she must pursue that. If she wants to be a hairdresser, she must pursue that. She wants to be a basketball player, but she's 4 foot, so I don't know how she's going to pursue that. But she should. But she should, right? If she's got the heart of a lion, she can achieve anything that she wants, irrelevant of stature, knowledge, know-how, and she'll work out a way. In fact, I even said to the board today, I was like, really proud of where we're at right now. I'm really optimistic about where we're going. I think we're gonna build something really special nationally. But I said to them, like, what I'm most proud of is we as a group need really understand how to be jelly to situations. And while we're hyper focused on our goals, as the journey ebbs and flows, we need to flex and contract with that as it goes. You can't be rigid. And so how do I deal with Tall Poppy? I actually don't think about it. Tall Poppy doesn't put food on the table for my family. So I don't give a shit what other people think. And if my best is not good enough, I'm cool with that too. The reality is my best is pretty good. And Tall Poppy kind of have issue. But like, you know, it's like another co-working space opening up. Now, I don't consider us really a co-working space. I know that's the vehicle of what we do, but it's not our purpose or our mission. But I'm not threatened by that because I'm not worried about how other co-working spaces are serving their customers. I'm focused on how we serve our members, right? And if we can delight and deliver happiness to our members day in, day out, then there's no reason for them to go anywhere else. That people will, better deals will come along, people will vacate as they need to, but if we constantly deliver, I'm confident we can stay where we need to be.
How did you... Excuse me. So the angle that I'm trying to get at now is if you can do work you believe in that is meaningful, my experience, and I think this is your experience, when you can find that, everything feels better, right? Like life is more fulfilling, life is more rewarding. What advice, practical advice, can you give people? How can they go about finding work that is going to be meaningful to them?
That's a very wide question. For me, it all starts with purpose, right? The thing that I don't love about what I'm doing is I'm selling office space.
Right.
But the office space is the vehicle. And so I had a friend in Los Angeles who was a retailer. He was a really good retailer. But he thought he was better than that. And what he misunderstood was through the retail vehicle, his stores, he actually had real life connections. He knew how to talk to people. He knew how to manage money. He knew how to manage product, serve demand. You know, all these things. The retail shop was a vehicle for him to be able to go and do all these amazing things. But because he was fixated on the fact that he's a retailer and he just sells widgets in a store, like he couldn't get over the big picture, right? And so for me, yeah, we sell office space, a desk and a chair. I think we have the best desk and chairs on the planet. But at the end of the day, it's not sexy and cool, right? And so I don't like that. But what I do love is that we're serving people. We are helping them. You're a great example of that, where you can sit in one space, absorb that all, and then repent back to a private space and do your thing, right? I love that there's so many companies. James Shadrach is a great example where he quit everything to figure out what to do. He came to Creative Cubes. I actually don't know how old he is, but he'd be mid to late 20s. Never been on an aeroplane or been overseas. He's currently overseas in Thailand.
Soon, yeah.
This afternoon, he's on a 5 o'clock flight.
Right, there you go.
It's the second time he's been on an airplane, the second time he's been overseas this year. Right?
As a result of stuff that came
as
through
a
the
result,
Cubes network.
as a result from him pursuing his idea. He did the work. But he was uplifted and inspired to do better and be better, and he's come from tough circumstances. But he's like, my position is I don't want to be a product of my parents. I want to rise up and hopefully be able to serve them later on in life. My point is that like that fucking makes me super excited. But it came from selling a desk and a chair to someone. So understand the vehicle, but your purpose can be completely worlds apart from what that actual vehicle is. It's like sports teams saying, well, we sell seats. No, you sell an experience. Halftime cheerleaders, halftime events. The team gets up. The team takes a loss. Like that whole wave of emotion is selling more than just a seat to a stadium. So, but the seat of the stadium is sort of like the gateway or the access card to all those emotions.
Love it. That idea of purpose. Couldn't agree more. Last question for you. How important is it, or not important, is it to surround yourself with people who make you better, who think similar ways. Tell me a little bit about maybe how you choose your friends, how you choose the networks you hang in, the activities you do or don't invest in. How do you go about that?
At core, that's what this is all about, right? Yeah. I'm not here to plug what we do.
Sure.
But it's critical because actually the way you view me is very different to the way I view you.
Sure.
So you get inspired and thrive off how you see me operating and executing. Guess what? I'm equal. I'm equal as inspired.
Sure.
I walk past and I see you on the phone like, fuck, I've got to be doing more because Omar's making me live my game. I go downstairs to Orange Theory as an example, and Mike or Mel, who's the trainer, is like, do more, be more. Come on, you gave me 14 yesterday, give me 14.2 today. You know, like just that little inch to take you to the next level. Nadia, who's my coach, she talks about not pushing the ball up the hill, but standing at the top of the hill and having the ball come to you. Right? And what she means by that is uplifting everyone around you, and I don't have to push the ball. The ball's just moving, right? And it's actually going faster up the hill than it is down the hill. And so being surrounded by like-minded people at core is what this is all about, from a bunch of different things. One, if you're in your own business, and if it's a home business, there's absolute boredom, loneliness, isolation, and if you're not in the right frame of mind, potential harm that you can cause yourself. Being in this type of environment is the complete opposite. If you're in your own company with multiple people and you're tucked away in an office, you're ultimately eating your own dog food and you're not being exposed to new things. And so a great example of that was when I was in Los Angeles. My office was in Santa Monica, and Uber moved into my co-working space. And if I was in the pet industry, which I was at the time, in a corporate office talking about our own products and widgets and foods and all this, that, and the other, I wouldn't have been exposed to the thinking of Travis Kalanick when he started out to build Uber, right? And a mobile marketplace and this and that. And so very quickly during my time in LA, there was this massive Uberification of, and I was a victim of that because I started on-demand dog walking, which was the Uber of dog walking, right? And so, but if I hadn't been exposed, or if I wasn't surrounded by that sort of environment, I would never have started it. SoftBank potentially would have never invested in, you know what I mean? Like there's just this snowball effect. And so at all times, like we used to on our website talk about surround yourself with other people that want to win, but I think that that's too heroic.
Sure.
I think you need to surround yourself by all types of people so that you can pick little pieces from everyone and sort of form your own lens on it all and get to a better place. The negative to it is very little.
Sure.
And so you've got very little to lose as a result, right? You can come in and feel it, and if it's not for you, like leave it. But if you don't try it, you don't know.
Totally. Well, mate, thank you for creating a space where we can come and hang out with people like you and people like others. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it as always. That's it for now. Look up. Tobi's not here because he wants to plug the business. Tobi's here supporting us doing what we're doing with the charity, but creativecubes.co, check it out. I'm a member here. I'm at Hawthorne. I genuinely love this space over and above all of the other spaces I've been to. The people here are fantastic. The vibe is fantastic. Everybody legitimately wants to support each other. So if you're looking for co-working, that's the vehicle, but if you're looking for a great place to work, community, no doubt, legitimately community as well. A lot of places talk about community, but this is legitimately a community. You can come in, you can have lots of conversations with people, you can be there by yourself, and before you know it, be surrounded by a group of fantastic people. Anyway, check it out, creativecubes.co. Tobi, thank you again.
No, thank you.
That's a wrap.
Cheers.
Thanks, brother.
No worries.